You're listening to The World According to Jen and Carolyn. Here, I was trying to teach Liam the prayer for lighting the menorah today. And he's like, oh man, I've just had enough. Because we had his second grade mass. Aww. So we had to do mass today.
How lovely. For Advent.
And it was funny because, of course, we ended up being the family that volunteered to do it based on Bill saying, yes, we volunteer as a tribute. But they go, which family would like to come up and light the Advent candle? And I go, the only candle I intend to light tonight is the menorah candle, which sparked a lot of good conversation after church. But Bill's like, we volunteer. And so we lit the Advent candle, which was really sweet. Today, the theme color, I don't know much about religion in general. The theme color was pink.
Advent. Yeah. I know it's pink. And then there's 3 like plum colors.
I think so. Pink is supposed to be about joy and forgiveness and all this wonderful stuff. And I'm like, it's pink. And the priest was wearing pink. I like pink. So it all went well.
And then we lit our Hanukkah candles and we had latkes.
Yes, we did. We had lamb. We got as Jewish as we can possibly get tonight. So there's been a lot of religion today.
And we were at the Dickens Fair yesterday.
Yes,
which was super fun.
It was. That is an incredible. If you live in the Bay Area, please go to the Dickens Fair. They do an incredible job. It's so much fun. Everybody's in character. It's like a body good time.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I got so many that I'm wearing the necklace I got there. And I got some other gifts that I kind of still needed to get some other things. And I found, it was just good times. Very joyful
small
people.
Business, artisans.
I feel like our people were there too.
Yes.
We got a lot of attention for people got your vampire.
They got your vampire. They got your Krampus. We are big cosplay dorks and we enjoy doing this.
You got to find joy where you can find it these days.
You really do, because there's a shortage, or it seems like there's a shortage of joy, which we talk about a lot on the show. But today, specifically what we're going to be talking about is a very bad Jewish man. We do not claim him as our own.
No.
Roy Cohn is going to figure prominently into today's discussion, which revolves around yes men and the fall of leaders. We're talking about Trump to history's from Trump to history's authoritarians. So we are going to dive into this phenomenon of leaders who like to surround themselves not with like the best and the brightest people who may occasionally say, no, you don't want to do that. They are loyal. They are sycophants. They will do and say whatever the boss tells them to do. These are yes men and women. They're lapdogs. They're toadies, whatever you want to call them. They have actually shaped. Do you want to die?
I've never heard of that
band. Okay, Toadies. No. That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay.
So Toadies, they've shaped history, which is crazy. They've often brought down the very leaders who empowered them. So our jumping off point it's this recent column that I read by Robert Reich. I think that I'm saying his name right. He was a former U.S. Secretary of Labor. I shouldn't know how to say that.
Gotta get deep in your throat, Jen.
Hanukkah. And he wrote an article titled Why Trump Built a Staff of Incompetent Sycophants. And his argument is stark. Donald Trump, like authoritarian rulers before him, they prize loyalty over competence. Yeah. And the result, he says, is a government of the unqualified, a culture of flattery, and ultimately a recipe for failure.
Like the most unqualified.
Oh, yeah. These people are ridiculously unqualified.
And didn't he, again, it's like in his second term now, which we're almost on the year end of his year of his second term, which is crazy. Didn't he like flip his whole cabinet even in the first term?
Oh, there were so many people who were fired. People whom didn't necessarily do or say what he wanted them to do, and they were out.
And look at Elon Musk basically got him there, and now they're not friends anymore.
I think they've got a really strange relationship,
as most weirdos do.
Yeah, exactly,
as most perverts do.
Yeah, these are some strange people. Yes. So, but I think the important thing to remember here is these appointments aren't accidents. They're really part of this deliberate plan. And as Reich notes, people like Bove, Long, and Tony, whom we're going to talk about, could not have advanced on merit. Instead, they advanced because of loyalty, because of how they flatter, obey, and in this case, shield Trump or try to from accountability. That's their main goal. Look at Mike Johnson, for instance. That man's entire existence is predicated on defending and insulating fucking Trump.
But then wouldn't you think, when they see what happens to Bannon or just different people, I can't with MTG, I can't with her.
I know.
But it's you see that and you would think someone like Kristi Noem would be like, oh shit.
I know.
But they don't, I think they're just equally crazy.
Well, the thing is too, the criticism is not going to stop. No. And anytime the criticism makes Trump look bad, he will throw his most loyal people under the bus.
It's a petulant child.
Yeah. You see it all the time with people who are in public office solely because they want to ascend the ladder of power. And anybody who gets in their way or who makes them look bad, even if those people are following dear leader's orders, they're out.
Yes.
And it's disgusting. So, Trump, let's talk about, he modeled his approach, this approach that we're talking about, on his mentor, Roy Cohn, who was infamous for, this dude was all about ruthless bullying, lies, corruption. If you haven't seen the movie The Apprentice, watch it.
Yeah.
Trump admired Cohen, not for his competence or his integrity, but for his loyalty. In the book, The Art of the Deal, Trump even contrasted Cohen with respectable men of integrity, saying what he valued most was Cohen's opposite, unwavering loyalty. So that's always been a value for Trump, even before he ran for and achieved public office. So, we'll talk more about Cohen, but he was the mentor who introduced him to Roger Stone, who is a piece of absolute trash. I can't remember the documentary I watched about Roger Stone. It's fucking, Roger Stone is nuts.
Okay.
I need to watch this documentary. If he weren't some right-wing crazed person, he's flamboyant and weird. And you're like, okay. But then he starts spewing right-wing ideology. And he, I think, is another self-loathing homosexual, much like Roy Cohn.
100%.
Very clearly. So, he introduced him to Roger Stone, Roy Cohn did, who's a political strategist, turd, spiritual nephew of Richard Nixon, and equally proud, dirty trickster. So this was based on this dude, Ken Galt's writing. So good. So let's not forget the Lavender Scare. This is really important, in which McCarthy and Cohen were responsible for the firing of dozens of gay men from government service and pressuring many opponents into silence using rumors of homosexuality. So Joseph McCarthy, as you know, back in the 60s, the Red Scare, said a lot of people were communists, even people who weren't, and got them, quote unquote, blackballed.
And killed. He killed the Rosenthal's.
Killed lots. Roy Cohn did. Roy Cohn prosecuted them.
That's right.
So, it's just this blame game, this terrible, we don't like you. We're going to go after you, and we're going to, hang this moniker of communism on you. And that's it. You're done.
Yes.
You're done. It's just like Trump and the way he tries to annihilate people and assassinate their character, et cetera. Same thing. So the Lavender Scare, which is really fucking disgusting because, as we know, or maybe folks don't know, Roy Cohn was gay. He died of AIDS.
Yep.
He was a closeted gay man who participated in the Lavender Scare, which, again, responsible for firing tons of gay men and pressuring opponents into silence by saying, I'm going to tell folks you're gay. Whether it was true or not, that was how he scared them into being submissive. Some real sick, self-loathing shit. So Cohn was portrayed in Angels in America, which I read in my undergrad, which is an incredible book and play. Definitely recommend it. As the person he was, dying of AIDS, denying his condition. He always said he had liver cancer. bullshit, demanding to be on the drug AZT and being haunted by the ghost of Ethel Rosenberg.
Yeah, I hope you
whom
were.
I think was played by Meryl Streep in the movie version of Angels in America.
Oh,
so
cool.
good. So good. So, we need to talk about Roy Cohn because this will give us a lot of insight into the way Trump thinks and leads. So let's talk. We mentioned briefly Roy Cohn and his participation in the Red Scare. So he was key in the McCarthy hearings, which were actually the 50s, not the 60s. I'm sorry. So Roy Cohn served as chief counsel to Senator Joseph McCarthy during the Army McCarthy hearings from 1953 to 1954, and he was instrumental in interrogating and targeting government officials, specifically academics and entertainment industry figures, accusing them of being communist sympathizers. So as you mentioned, he was the person who prosecuted Julius and Ethel Rosenberg in 1951. So before joining McCarthy, Cohen was part of the prosecution team in the trial of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who were convicted of espionage for allegedly passing atomic secrets to the Soviet Union. All I know, I think, is that Ethel was minimally involved or really couldn't prove her involvement, but he was like, fuck it, we're going to execute her nonetheless.
And they both had children. In that documentary, I can't remember the name of it, but we talked about before, they spend almost an entire episode talking about McCarthy and they go deep into this story.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. So Cohen later boasted that his personal lobbying helped secure the death penalty for Ethel Rosenberg. Again, even though her involvement was super minor compared to Julius's.
Example.
Yep.
She's ruining our country.
Terrible. Gotta stop this Jewish on Jewish violence.
Yes.
Targets during the Red Scare. So Cohen and McCarthy's investigations extended into the State Department, U.S. Army, Voice of America, and Hollywood. I don't know what Voice of America is. I should have looked that up. I'm very curious. So many careers were absolutely obliterated by these assholes as fear of communist infiltration grew. Shit, we can do a whole episode, and we have talked extensively about what Nixon and his stooge, what the fuck is his name? Kissinger, and what they did in the name of stopping the spread of communism, particularly in Latin America.
Which really wasn't that bad.
No. And it was all a tactic to secure resources and ensure that capitalism had access to those resources. Anyway, going down to a different track, even though they're all connected.
It's all connected.
It's all
conspiracy.
Let's talk about these bullying tactics. And this is going to sound super familiar because this is how Trump rolls. Cohen became infamous for aggressive cross-examinations, personal attacks, and press leaks designed to ruin reputations. Sound familiar? Mm-hmm. He specialized in public humiliation as a political tool. So then came the Army McCarthy hearings. This is what we alluded to earlier. So this was in 1954. So Cohen's insistence on giving special treatment to David Schein, his close associate, while Schein was drafted into the Army, helped spark the Army McCarthy hearings. These hearings ultimately exposed McCarthy's reckless tactics and contributed to the senator's downfall. People eventually woke up and realized we shouldn't believe McCarthy. I just remember history class in high school where it was like McCarthy claimed to have all these secrets in this briefcase, but it was really just an empty fucking briefcase.
Right.
That's it. It's fear and intimidation. Yeah. So let's talk about this legacy of fear and intimidation. So Cohen left behind a legacy of fear-driven politics where accusations replaced evidence and loyalty was prized above truth. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
So this historian, Ellen Schrecker, calls McCarthyism and by extension Cohen's work the most widespread episode of political repression in U.S. history. And it is until now. I think until now, what we're seeing is some pretty dark shit reminiscent of the McCarthy era. So history's authoritarian yes men. Let's talk a little bit more. We're going to go beyond Cohen now. So this isn't new. History shows us that the authoritarian leaders almost always trade away competence for loyalty, and the results are always disastrous. So let's talk about, we're going to go back in history here. So what about Stalin's inner circle? Purges of military intellectual talent in the 30s, sycophants only. He surrounded himself with people who, feared, they were all about spreading fear. They were loyalists. They were brutal as fuck. They were often incompetent in governance, but the primary factor is that they were loyal. Mm-hmm. Look at Hitler and Nazi Germany. loyalty to Hitler mattered more than skill, intelligence, competence, anything. Himmler, Göring, Goebbels each jockeyed for power by flattering Hitler rather than questioning him. Sound familiar? You know who loves flattery. Hannah Arendt, The Origins of Totalitarianism, that's what she wrote in 1951, wrote totalitarianism, in power invariably replaces all first-rate talents. With those crackpots and fools whose lack of intelligence and creativity is the best guarantee of their loyalty. The dumber you are, the less you question, the more loyal you are, and the more worthwhile you are to have around. So the results, obviously, catastrophic military and policy blunders. Saddam, yeah, exactly. Total clown show, bro. Yeah. Saddam Hussein, same thing, relied on family members and loyal Ba'athist party folk, often with little expertise, just like Trump. North Korea, the Kim dynasty, endless praise. These sound familiar? Parades honoring him. Oh, happy birthday to our dear leader.
Here's your peace prize.
Yeah, here's your peace prize, bro. Put it around your neck like a small child. So,
weirdo.
In each case, authoritarian leaders believed loyalty could substitute for competence. It never worked. Never. Their insulated bubbles of flattery always led to miscalculations, disastrous wars, economic collapse, which I think is what we're starting to experience now, and mass suffering. So, Carolyn, talk to us about the psychology of loyalty from a human-centered perspective. Let's get real hippie.
Yeah, again, it all makes sense. I think of this from a management standpoint. Whenever I've been a supervisor, I want people who are better than me under me. I want you to say no to me. I want to hear what your ideas are. I want you to
push back.
Let's all do this together. I don't want a bunch of yes people. So if you're that type of person, we have to start by understanding something really crucial. Our tendency, and I think you have a small child, so you've seen this. Yes. Our tendency to go along with authority, to seek belonging within hierarchies and prioritize group cohesion over individual dissent. This isn't necessarily a character flaw. It's kind of human nature. Right. And they're adaptive survival mechanisms. You have to be taught why that, and you don't want to be in a situation where that's how you have to survive. Yeah. Right. So from a nervous system perspective, or polyvagal, our nervous systems are constantly scanning for safety through connection. Yeah. That's how it should be. We're wired to attune. So that means be seen, heard, and valued. We want to make sure that we're checking in on the emotional states of those around us, especially those with power over our survival. And so from a parent-child perspective, this makes a ton of sense. Or from a boss-employer standpoint. But also I think too, you don't ever want to create an environment where you're forcing someone to adhere to you because they're afraid of you. Right. You want respect, good parenting. Exactly. And I want you to question back, but I want you to do it in a kind way. Right. So we've developed a really exquisite sensitivity to social hierarchies. Again, we're mammals. So we can read the room. We know when to speak, when to fall in line.
Some of us can.
Not all of us. We're around a lot of people who can't. Right. This is what we call ventral vagal connections. That's basically when you feel really safe and connected and playful. It's calm. You're having fun. Like think when you're playing a game, right? It's fundamental. We survive through co-regulation within our community. But here's where it gets exploitative. So
that's a hard word for us.
Yeah, I know. I've had a lot of wine. Systems of capitalism and colonialism have weaponized an adaptive human tendency. They know what they're doing. Yep. So colonial power structures specifically engineered hierarchies that demand absolute loyalty, and they break apart any reciprocal or horizontal relationships that you might see with pre-colonial societies. So like indigenous, enslaved culture.
Where you want just like straight up top down.
Yes. And
sort of systems.
Any other community is collective.
Right.
But we, as America, are born in a system that really wants, even though they say there's no king, it's built to have a king.
You follow the strong man or woman, and it's rugged individualism to the detriment of everybody else.
Society.
Yes.
And that's why we keep finding ourselves in this position. So again, traditional leadership involved consensus building and accountability to the collective, but colonial and capitalist systems concentrate power upward and demand unquestioning obedience downward. It makes me remember my principal in elementary school. Like, this woman walked on the scene and you were like, that woman had uncontrollable power.
Yeah.
And, so again, it's not a bad thing unless you're manipulating it, right?
I don't think being a person that exudes power and strength is bad, particularly as a woman.
Yeah.
But I think that it's what you do with that power that makes the difference.
Exactly. Yeah. So it can be manipulated.
Right.
And okay, let's talk about this. And so how power maintains itself. Let's talk about the sycophants themselves, because the psychology is more fascinating on them. So they're often responding to a very real threat assessment. If you know you can't compete on merit in a rigged system, you've learned that competence without loyalty gets you nowhere, while mediocrity with obedience gets you promoted. And you adapt.
Yeah.
You learn to survive by attaching yourself to power. It kind of reminds me of like every bully you see always has like their cronies.
Oh, yeah.
And then usually the cronies are the ones who turn and like get everyone behind them, right? So this is what you call, with that polyvagal, by when you attach yourself to power, there's what's called a dorsal vagal safety, a type of survival through submission when fight or flight aren't options. Remember when we talked about what's formerly known as Stockholm? Yeah. Now we call it appeasement. It's appeasement.
Yeah.
I'm not giving them that much credit, though. Yeah. I think it's a very different thing. To me, I've been captured by Hitler.
Yeah.
And if I don't do what he says, you're going to kill me.
It's survival.
So I will be your yes person, but I don't really like this. I worry that a lot of these people actually like it.
Well, unfortunately, like, look at the composition of ICE. It's like, oh, you couldn't get into the police department. You couldn't get into the military. We'll take you.
Yeah.
And there's this this sick, I want to subjugate people. I want to make people scared. I want to abuse people.
Well, echo the historical line that Reich said that you quoted. They must latch on to someone who values loyalty above integrity and competence.
Yeah.
So leaders who demand this kind of sycophant are also operating from threat states. The psychology of authoritarian leadership is rooted in profound insecurity. And we've done the Trump episodes. Yeah. We've done the Musk episode. You got daddy people pleasing. You've got weird mom shit.
Yeah. No, it's like the more power these people who are damaged get, the more we suffer for the trauma that they endured.
Right.
It's like,
very well put.
Why are you doing this to me?
Yes, I know.
Elon Musk, I'm sorry your dad was a piece of shit. Don't take it out on him.
That's all it is, which is just so weird how people are like, oh, I don't care about my parents. Like, yeah, you do.
Well, did you hear recently, and this is really fucked up, but Trump used the R word to describe Tim Walz, whom we love, governor of Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken.
America's first dad.
Right? I love him. But his daughter went on a very justified tirade because she's like, my brother is now at the center of this, these taunts. People are driving by and saying horrible things. Anyway, it culminated in Trump Jr., Donnie Jr. going after her, and she had the sickest burn. She's like, it's so evident your dad didn't love you. And I'm like, sick burn, girl. But it's true. He's so damaged by his father's, being a sociopath and his inability to connect and love. Now he's just spewing hate as a consequence.
And I do believe that there is a point, it's like a sociopath. There is a point of no return.
No,
you've just adapted to that skill. And same thing with the sycophants. Their nervous system can't tolerate not following.
Right.
To the same way that they know that the leader can't tolerate dissent because it's a threat.
Yeah.
They need constant reassurance, constant merit, constant validation, because they're flooded with shame and fear. And they've never developed the capacity for genuine, secure attachment. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So again, I feel sad for the child, not for the adult.
Yeah, not for Donald Trump Jr., the adult.
No. But yeah, so you can't trust and coexist with disagreement. If you are loyal to me, you can never tell me the truth.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that would be a really sad existence. So you have to put yourself in that mindset of how fucked up you are. And I'm using that as a clinical term.
Yeah.
It's not good. This is not something we want as a president. So Irvin Janis called this groupthink. We've heard about this in business. We can understand it more deeply through the trauma lens. When a leader surrounds himself with only yes men and women, they're creating a closed system where no new information can penetrate. Reality itself becomes distorted. I don't know if they know what's real. They're all fucking deluded.
Right. Yeah.
And they're not going to stop because their survival depends on it.
Yeah.
So there is no what's it called? Debating. There is there's no point.
Yeah.
They just have to go.
Yeah.
And I don't care how.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah. It's interesting how, like the, not justification, the description of what survival constitutes in this day and age is so much different than like our ancestors, right? Where it's like you adapt, you follow the strong person because you need to survive when a saber-toothed tiger comes in and like tries to decimate your village.
The leader will protect you with their strength.
And this is a different adaptation of that same like evolutionary like need, necessity, adaptation. But it's
again, you have to remember it's colonial and capitalist space.
Right.
So it's based on this idea that we need more.
Right.
And we need the best.
Yes.
When the truth is, don't drink that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You don't.
Well, once everything became predicated on the acquisition of private property and defending what's quote unquote yours, that created, I think, a scarcity mindset and a real division, and something that folks in power could use to like create, exacerbate that division.
Yes.
Like there was a guy on Facebook and I put a comment about like, oh, now y'all really care about the law, right? Now that you voted for a felon, you voted for a rapist, and now you have a problem. I can hear my child upstairs. He's partying with Uncle Mario.
It's my fiance.
Yes.
They like to spar.
They really do. But it's like now all of a sudden you care about the law. And this man, African-American man, was talking about brown folks coming in and like taking business, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, you poor man, you've fallen for the folks in power, white folks in power tactics saying this brown person is taking your shit, when in actuality, it's the system, which is devised and perpetuated by white men in power.
Yes.
And it's like, you fell for this hook, line, and sinker. Like, stop being so susceptible to this. Yes. Like, the real enemy isn't the hardworking fucking dude from Guatemala and his family. Like, no, your real enemy is the, you know, the 1%. Yes. And getting people to kind of coalesce around that idea is very difficult because there's so many different messages.
Right.
And
very few of them are the truth, which is also co-opted by those.
Very few of them are the truth, and they are dependent upon division because division keeps us weak and keeps them strong. So let's talk about this. We're going to get more into this.
Feels really simple to me.
Yeah, it does. It does. But we also, again,
we're educated coastal elites.
We're educated coastal elite white women.
I know.
We are very.
We went to Jesuit schools.
We went to Jesuit schools, so we're ultra commie. And not everybody has had that benefit. And I recognize that. And at the same time, like, I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about what this means for our democracy, these real world consequences, which we just started touching on, but incompetence in governance. So, you know, you've got this IRS revolving door. You've got the DOJ ignoring the courts. You've got a Supreme Court that is full of loyalists for the most part. Like, you have an erosion of institutional trust, which I think could actually yield some good results, right? I think that a healthy distrust of institutions is not a bad thing. So citizens suffer while sycophants rise. We're seeing that right now. And as Reich warns, this is not necessarily cause for hope. If history is any guide, many innocent people suffer before the incompetent grovelers and the vain objects of their groveling meet their inevitable fates. So basically, things have to get real fucking bad before before they turn around.
Does
do they
really meet their fate?
I don't know.
I hate to be this masochistic, but I'm so, like I said, I'm with like MTG. I don't care if you're sorry.
I know.
I have no sympathy for you. I'm so sorry that you fell for it.
Right. And now you are on the receiving end of all of the violent threats. And, you know, that you yourself were responsible for other folks being subjected to. Yeah. I get that for sure. I mean, we look at like Nuremberg, for instance, and for me, who's somebody who's opposed to the death penalty, I'm like, okay, a lot of people were hanged who were responsible for the promotion of the annihilation of our people and many other people. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what happens?
Nothing.
And it's
like, you're right.
And
you're
the
right.
other end of the spectrum, it's like, look at South Africa. And look at the reconciliation. It's, what is it called? Not faith and reconciliation, but I can't remember. But it's like you sit there and you talk and you atone and you forgive. And
yeah.
I don't know if I could ever do that with somebody who killed my family, which was the Hutus and the Tutsis did it as well. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. So where's the happy medium? I don't know.
You probably shouldn't ask me.
I think it varies from person to person, really. So, let's talk about modern. Yes. I don't know if I can do it. So, where other areas where you see this is in tech companies or corporations where CEOs surround themselves with flatterers. Look at Bezos, for instance. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Like, these people love to be flattered. They want to be surrounded by other white men. They have pushed back on diversity and giving women entry into
fragile men.
Yeah, they're super fragile. So, lessons for democracy today. We need these checks and balances. We need institutions that reward competence. Yeah. And what we're seeing right now is really scary. Like, I don't get, when it comes to the Supreme Court, how somebody like Clarence Thomas,
what is going on?
I mean, there is no debate that he got lavish trips and, gifts and all sorts of stuff that should bar him from serving on the Supreme Court for life. And he is a sycophant.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the tables are ever going to turn to the point where we say, you know what, you got to go, dog.
Well, but I get maybe back in the day, you couldn't see all those receipts.
Right.
Now you can.
Everything's, yes.
And I just came back from DC, and thank you to everyone who is watching me, rumble my way through museums and try and make sense of anything. But you're looking at all of this, and what struck me the most was sort of the lack of policy talk and the lack of what the truth was that actually was. It was like the emperor has no clothes on.
Yeah.
And people were saying, well, we just talk about history and we talk about the truth, and people will just figure out. It's like, but I think we need more than that.
Well, this is history happening right now. And the truth is, the emperor has no clothes.
But no one's saying it.
I do understand from the perspective of like a fucking museum docent, right? Like,
really? I don't know. See, that made me really angry.
It goes back to your argument about this is a survival mechanism. These people, a lot of them are federal employees, or they're employees of the museum that are beholden to whomever's in power.
Funding and money.
Yes. So that is a survival strategy.
But
I
Jen,
think.
If we all get together,
I get it.
We're bigger than that one. You know what's weird? The African American Museum. Do you want to know who their main funder is?
I don't want to know.
And it's up on the wall everywhere. Guess.
The Cohen.
Walmart.
Not Cohen.
Walmart.
Oh,
and Target.
God. Yeah.
Everywhere you go in that museum.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, like that feels
disingenuous.
I mean,
feels inauthentic.
Again, it's not mine to say, but fuck it, I got a podcast. I'm gonna say it.
Right.
This is the museum for African American culture.
Yeah.
And you're basically saying and they're saying everything. It's all there.
Yeah.
But your funder's fucking Walmart.
I know.
How do you I
know.
Explain to me how that that doesn't compute in my head.
I know, me neither. And at the same time,
the money is. Is that their blood money?
I can't judge because I'm not in the situation. At the same time, like my husband used to work for the Dominican sisters.
Okay.
And he ran a work study program for a Dominican school. It was all girls. And the primary nun who was responsible for fundraising said, I would take money from the devil himself if it meant getting these girls jobs.
Yeah.
And so does the means justify the ends? Okay. I think that's what we're looking at. And I'm not necessarily saying I agree. I'm just saying I think that's
it's where the money is.
The question.
Yeah.
Do the means justify the ends? Ultimately, what happens? People are coming in, they're learning about the African-American diaspora, the experience, slavery, all the shit that Black folks have gone through and are still going through in our country because this money is coming from these evil entities. I don't know. It's hard for me, right?
I know.
I work in government.
I know.
There are some concessions that I have to make that I'm not always necessarily the most comfortable with, but understand that if I want to help the community, there are certain concessions philosophically, principally, I have to make. I don't know. That is the age-old argument, right? And that is a podcast episode in and of itself.
And so often do.
We'll get to that. So Carolyn, let's talk about the psychological toll. What psychological toll, rather, does this loyalty first system take on ordinary citizens who have to live with the consequences of poor governance, i.e. us?
Yeah, it's not good, Jen.
We're the victims, God damn it.
And we even are. Like, we'll just come right out and say that.
Well, we have the privilege to be able to come out and say a lot of this stuff.
We're angry.
Yeah.
So obviously we've talked about, or maybe not obviously, collective trauma, nervous system dysregulation, which again, I don't really think you're being dysregulated. You're having a very normal, healthy reaction to some really fucked up shit. And thank God you are, or whatever you believe in. Incompetent leaders make disastrous decisions and people suffer. That's also something that you see woven in throughout. I mean, every war, the Washington DC is the capital of war. Like where you see what war has done. Yeah. And you really can go to these amazing memorials. That's probably the best thing that they have there. Yeah. And really see the blood, sweat, and tears of families, nurses, doctors, farmers, like the real people.
That is what this administration is trying to erode.
Yes.
Is the contributions of people on the ground and the opposition to these wars. Who built it?
Under the premise of something they were protecting that murdered millions of other people.
Right. The White House was built by slaves, bro. Like
they earned a good wage, Jen.
No, they didn't.
They didn't.
Damn it.
No, they didn't.
Oh, wait. Who said that again? That the slaves were treated well? Oh, that was Trump, I think. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God.
They got to go to church on Sundays. What's the big deal?
They got fed.
I know.
What do you want? Fuck. Oh, God.
So anyway, this is not good. And it's not going well. And I think you just look at pharmaceutical sales and you could see that mirrored. So it's also a learned helplessness at a societal level. And we are watching institutions fail. Yeah. And kind of some of us are going, told you so, but also there's a anxiety like, oh shit, like what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Total anarchy and not it's January 6th. Yeah. So what's starting to happen for many is your nervous system is also adapting and go, well, I guess I don't matter. And I guess being competent doesn't matter. So I guess truth doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So what the fuck does matter? Going into either people are getting incredibly angry like you and I and feeling like we're trying to find hope and truth. And other people are, because they don't have any other ability, I'm going to say they just are shutting down.
Or resources.
Thank you.
There's a real lack of resources. Imagine being, in the middle of being in Florida. I'm like, think of the shittiest state, Jen. Florida. Bless you. I'm allergic to Florida too. Think about being fucking marooned in Florida. And fucking having like no one around you who thinks like you. And you're the odd person out. Like I couldn't imagine how that feels. We're in San Francisco. We're insulated. There are countless people who think and believe like us. Oh, is the wine making you sneeze?
To me. I drink like more than 2 glasses and I start having like a full-blown allergic
You're my
reaction.
Mother-in-law.
It's so gross. I'm so sorry for the rest of this podcast. I'm going to be basically having a histamine response.
Don't do it.
I suck. I'm going to stick with weed. All right. That's how I handle my survival and stuff.
So coping mechanism.
So, I'll make this really short. It's very insidious. Loyal first systems don't just harm their incompetence, don't just harm through their incompetence. They harm by forcing everyone to participate in a lie.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a sycophant yourself, and I think this is what we're talking about with the museums and the workers, you're having to exist within a structure where sycophany.
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's the worst symphony ever. It's rewarded and honesty is punished.
Yeah.
You watch colleagues get promoted for flattery while you're passed up for speaking the truth. And you have to navigate this. And it's very harmful. I worry about our children who are watching this and being told they have to do certain things and going, well, that person doesn't. Look at the president, not my president. Right. So your nervous system knows something's deeply wrong. We have to find each other and support each other and keep, like you said, keep that hopefulness. But, again, I worry a lot, and especially as we're going into the new year, they're ruining all our systems of resources that we do have. I'm frightened to death what's going to happen with healthcare and what people are already suffering with.
Yeah.
I had to eliminate taking 3 healthcare insurances this year because the rate is so low that if I were to see these people, I couldn't afford to stay in practice.
Yeah.
So again, I shouldn't talk. The hypocrisy in me is going, well, I'm having to choose these ones.
That's not a hypocrite. You need to survive and you need to be able to feed yourself as well.
Heart, though.
But I know. Well,
but I burned myself out and I've learned I'm I can't do it. And so, it's the citizens who become collateral damage,
right?
Which is why we need to be smarter and need to be stronger, and fight where the people that can will fight. We're not going to ask the people that can't fight who are suffering to also be the fighters.
Yeah, we'll stand up for them. I think that is what we all need to realize that there's way more of us than there are of them.
Yeah.
And that if we stand up and stand together and demand that our needs be met, and this isn't a handout. People, Americans work so fucking hard, unnecessarily hard.
Ever,
it's like Joe Biden said, one job should be enough. And now we're living in this really contorted system where it's very Orwellian, right? It's very truth. What is truth, right? There's truth and lies. They're synonymous. And that's why I like things that are geared toward my child that teach these lessons without teaching directly these lessons, right? This is why we're going to go see Wicked for Good, because that's what it's all about. It's a propped up bullshit system.
Yep.
And the person, i.e. Elphaba, the wicked witch, quote unquote, who is trying to point out how fucked up everything is demonized. Oh, she's the bad one.
Always.
And that's the thing. So many of us, I'm not taking up a martyr's mantle, but so many of us, what did Orwell say? He said something along the lines of in totalitarianism or tyranny, the first casualty is truth.
Oh, yeah.
And those who speak truth, I'm bastardizing this, those who speak truth become the enemy.
Well, science teachers.
Yeah.
Look what's happening at what's it called?
What can I think?
National Institute of Health.
Yeah.
What's it? CDC.
Right.
Colleges.
Let's get rid of all the
academics, all the people doing the research.
Right.
And I think you bring up your kid, and I think as a parent, what you have to do too is also reinforce to your child the value of integrity,
right,
and truth, and these types of things, and really say, no, be that beacon in the world.
Stand up. You do not have to follow the crowd. A lot of times the crowd is wrong. If something in you, if your gut tells you what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing is wrong, you listen to that. You be the person who stands up.
Because that's punk rock.
Yeah, it's hella punk rock. And you might not be exalted in that moment, but like Castro said, history will absolve me. You know what I'm saying? Be that person. And that's what I am day after day trying to instill in my child. Be the person who stands up. Be the person who goes, something doesn't smell right here.
Yeah. So I'm not coming at Christmas.
Yeah. Yes.
Mom and Dad.
Hopefully we never do anything to make him not. We're a bunch of commies. So as long as he also becomes and maintains his commie-like personality, we'll be okay. We're indoctrinating him, but I feel like we're indoctrinating him for good, right? Me and Bill are both Jesuit educated. We care deeply about people.
He's got enough people in his life. I feel like he's going to be okay.
We took to heart, and the people in his life took to heart, that Jesuit philosophy: be a man or a woman for others. That is the most important thing we can impart.
Yes.
Like, I don't care if you're rich when you grow up.
No.
I don't care if you become a doctor or a lawyer or any of these other professions that are, highly regarded in our society, because they typically pay well. The most important thing my child can become is a kind, good
That's what my parents
person.
Say too. We just want you to be a good person, not
Just
even
be a good
happy.
person.
They wouldn't even say you don't have to be happy.
Happy's good though.
But if you're a good person, the happiness, the joy comes for free.
I agree. And if you're a smart person, it's kind of hard to be happy all the time.
What is it? Isn't that wasn't that after the more you know, or it's like kindness matters?
I'm sure it was.
I feel like there were always puppets telling me in the 80s.
There were a lot of puppets.
Be kind.
A lot of puppets in the 80s.
Smoke and be kind.
Telling us,
smoke and be kind.
Those lessons. There was a horse with
although
a
I
hat
did want to hang people. There was a kid, one with like a weird little fisherman's hat on.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that. 80s kids.
I don't know what they did, but
where you at?
Yeah.
Yes. It might have been Church of Latter-day Saints. I'll fucking know. Who broke my window? Telling the truth isn't going to be easy. Even though it's a Church of Latter-day Saints,
we
I
need
get down with that message.
We need more of those PSAs
Tell
now.
the truth. It's not easy, but the truth fucking matters.
Yeah.
Let that be your takeaway. Our final thought is, from Stalin to Saddam Hussein, from Roy Cohn to Donald Trump, history is littered with these motherfuckers, with these leaders who value loyalty over competence. The irony is that yes men ultimately bring down not just themselves, but the leaders they serve. It's a house of cards, and it fucking crumbles. It all ultimately crumbles. It's just a matter of what it takes with it. How much is going to erode before it falls? So the sobering truth is, before these collapses happen, nations and ordinary people like us suffer. And as citizens in a democracy, as we said, it's our responsibility to demand leaders who value honesty, expertise, and integrity, not blind loyalty. Because when sycophants rise, the truth falls, and we all fall. We all pay the consequences. Pay attention, everybody. Please. We know anybody listening to this podcast is already paying attention, but share this with your Republican family. Yes. They're going to be like, who are these communist bitches? What? I feel like we kind of know what we're talking about. This is a highly researched show.
Yes.
The right-wing folks who were like, that's what they want you to believe. It's like, yes, we are the they, and this is what we want you to believe. And I promise it's all predicated on history and research and observation.
Weird 80s interactions.
Yes. We grew up in an interesting time.
We had Rainbow Bright.
We had Rainbow Bright and Reagan. All at the same time. It was a shit show, but I feel like we are better for it.
Yeah.
And we're over here ringing this alarm bell. We know a lot of you are ringing it with us.
Ring the alarm. Now I'm throwing elbows.
What is that?
Christina Aguilera.
Oh, yes.
Let's get dirty, America.
Wanna get dirty? America is gonna crumble in a hurry. Okay, that's it. It's about time for our arrival. It's about time for our departure. We love you all. Happy Hanukkah. We'll see you soon.
Be kind.
Bye.
Bye.